critic, author, editor and scriptwriter. Please welcome National Award-winning film critic Mr. Saibal Chatterjee, the moderator for this session. Now I would request Ms. Tanu Rai, Deputy Director, Directorate of Film Festival, to please present mementos to our esteemed guests. Now I hand over the mic to a moderator to please continue the session. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really happy to be here to do this conversation with Mr. Takashi Miike, because he's one filmmaker I've admired ever since I saw Ichi the Killer many years ago. And obviously the film that we saw here today is his latest film, and it's obviously slightly different from the films he's done before. So I'll start off by asking him, I'm just going a little off the track. First Love, like he said, is a film ultimately about humanity. How life sort of asserts itself, amid violence and death and destruction. So was this a conscious move for Mr. Miike from the kind of films he's made in the past, which are dark, very violent, where violence leaves a trail of destruction without there being any possibility of redemption? Yeah. You translated? Yeah, sure.
Hi, my name is Miike Takashi.
初恋っていう作品は何かどうしようもない男たちが、一生懸命自分を守るために欲望のままに追い詰められている状況から何とか抜け出そうとしているうちにみんな命を落としていく愚か者たちなんですが、そんな人間たちでも一つこの世の中に、ピュアな恋、新しい男と女の出会いとそれが恋に落ちるっていう、そういう状況、環境っていうものが作れないだろうかっていう、要は世の中でいらないと思われている人間たちでも何か一つ、恋の一つぐらいは人知れず作っている、生きた価値があったっていう、そういう作品になるかなというふうに思って作りました。
Okay, so firstly about my work, new work, First Love, Hatsukoi, and it's about a pair of mismatched individuals who are together to protect themselves inside of a particular situation, and especially with the main theme of protecting their life. And amongst all the various kinds of people that they interact with, they still manage to attain this form of love, which is a pure love. And within this situation and this environment, this work is about love and how to live life.
で確かにその昔そういう 以前にはバイオレンス、もっと今回の一度きのオーディションとか暴力が中心。ただ暴力そのものっていうわけじゃなくて、暴力を中心にしか生きていけないっていう人間が登場人物にいるので、結果的に暴力的な映画になるんですが、それは自分が、監督として暴力を描きたいんじゃなくて、彼らを描いて、彼らの登場人物のファンになって描いていると、結果的にその生まれてくるのがバイオレンス映画というふうにカテゴリーというか、そういうふうにジャンル分けされるという、そういう作品は、確かにかつては多かったし、またこれからも作っていくかもわからないんだけど、ただ今作っているのは日曜日の朝やってる女の子向けのテレビドラマ、全く暴力はダメだよっていうテレビドラマを作っている。それも自分にとっては嘘をついているわけじゃない。自分の中でそういう願いもあります。
And also to continue the first question, so from a long time ago, there has been patterns of violence in the movies, and of course everyone mentions Audition. And from the point of view of being a director, we made a film, and the fans were the ones that received it as its violence. And it must also be noted that this is not all the types of movies that I make. As a very modern example, at the moment, on Japanese Sunday mornings on TV, I have a drama which is aimed at young girls between 3 and 6, and of course there is absolutely no violence. So within me as a director, it's not only that there is violence in my work.
Yeah, obviously we are aware that you make films for children, and you make character-driven dramas, and you do thrillers that are not so violent. But the world seems to embrace, the films that are violent, and have a certain stylized way of looking at these human, the ugly side of human beings and society's underbelly. One question that I have in my mind is, how different in your films from the violence that we see in the superhero films that come out from Hollywood? Do you make a distinction between the two kinds of violence that we see on the big screen?
自分は確かにハリウッド的なそのスーパーヒーローの中に逆に言うとバイオレンスを感じますよね。その一人のヒーローを作り上げるために、彼を強い人間だと見せるためだけに周りの人間たちがバラバラ意味もなく死んでいって何も知らないやつらがバラバラ倒れていくっていう、それはもう映画なんだから、スターのために周りの俳優たちはそういう役割人生を送るんだっていう、そこがちょっと自分の中では違和感があって、せっかく現場に来たんだから殴られて終わりっていうだけじゃなくて、もっとその人も役者になったので立ち上がって殴り返せっていうと、結果的に、とんでもない殴り合いになっちゃって血もたくさん流れてバイオレンスになってしまう。だから愛情をかける、自分がその人に今晩 いい役者になってよかったなと思う瞬間を作るために愛情を持つと結果的にバイオレンスなシーンが出来上がっていくっていう、それはなんか愛情とバイオレンスの、一つの、関係を示すものだと思います。
So, regarding the typical Hollywood hero types of movies, they are generally violence displayed for the purpose of the hero. They are in effect made for the star, and many people are killed, and usually unknown number of many. But as far as Miike-san's movies are concerned, we come to see the hero in a way that he's constantly battling. He's maybe knocked down, but he's getting up again, and we can see his pain and his blood come out. And within all this, we can see that there is love, and this allows us to show the connection of love and violence within the single environment.
In recent years, you have adapted a lot of manga for the big screen. Could you please tell us what the manga books mean to you? I mean, did you grow up on a staple of these manga books in Japan? And have things changed for young people in Japan today in terms of how much manga they consume?
僕たちの時代漫画っていうのは確かにすごい進化をしてで、ただ僕らの子供の時代っていうのは、皆同じ漫画を読んでいた。子供たちは同じ漫画に熱狂したい。今は、たくさんのジャンルのいろんな漫画があって子供たちの中で、好きな漫画がそれぞれバラバラにあってっていうそれによってなんか多分子供たちも何か主張していると思うんです。僕はこういうのが好き、こういうのが好き。そういう何か、大きなそこが一番大きな変化ですよね。まあでも、日本人って漫画を楽しむのも好きだし、要は作るのも好きだし、優秀なその作家たちがたくさんいると。
So for me, yes, I did grow up with manga, and all of us did, and our generation, all the children were all reading the same manga. In effect, we all knew and familiar with what was happening at the time. But with the current generation now, there are many different types of genres of manga, and all the young people and children all love different types of manga. So that's a big change, that everyone's looking at and enjoying different types of things. And Japanese people generally do indeed enjoy manga, both young and old. And not only just reading and enjoying them, but also making them. A great many people also work on different types of manga.
You learned the basics of filmmaking, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, under Shohei Imamura. And Shohei Imamura in turn started under Yasujiro Ozu. And under Ozu. Shohei Imamura started under Ozu. Imamura moved away from Ozu quite a bit, obviously. So have you also moved away from Imamura, or did he influence your work, at least in the early years of your career?
村翔平っていうのはもう今、もうこの世にいない大先輩で、自分が助監督としてアシスタントディレクターでついた、最も刺激的な強い個性を持った作品で、出来上がった作品も素晴らしいものが多い監督です。で、今村さんっていうのは何か人に映画とはこうあった方がいいとかこうやって生きた方がいいっていうことは一切言わなくて、自分の撮りたいもののためのに働く、要は命をかけてその時間を全て今村翔平の映画に、こう捧げるという、そういうタイプの人で、教育者ではなくて映画を作る本当に怪物というかエゴイストな素晴らしい。で、自分が唯一教えてもらったのは、それは自分が勝手に感じ取ったわけだけど、今村翔平的な今村翔平が撮っているような映画は今村翔平にしか撮れないと。いくら憧れたり真似しようと思ってもそれは偽物なんだと。ただどんな人間にだってその人にしか撮れない作品があるっていう。だから、自分のやれるものを自分のやり方で作ればいいんだっていうことを教わりました。
So, without a doubt, Shohei Imamura-san was a great director, and he was a senpai, a mentor to me. And he was a man with a very large character, as well as being a great director. He made movies in his own image of his own life and his own time. And he was a superb man with a very large character and a large ego, and he made movies from his feeling of what he thought should be. And it should definitely be said that a movie by him could only ever be made by him. It's just simply not possible to try and copy it or emulate it. And from this we can learn that, or Miike-san can learn, the lesson is to make movies as you would make them yourself.
Did he ever discuss Ozu with you? I mean, obviously, he started as an assistant to Ozu, Yasujiro Ozu, and did you ever discuss Ozu's style with you and other people that he worked with, and what do you remember from those days?
Yeah. 大津さんというのは今村翔平よりもさらにその前の時代の巨匠で、今でもその、映画を研究する、日本映画を研究するとすれば大津安二郎というのは外せない非常に重要な、黒澤明と同じぐらい重要なポジションにいる大物なんで、では彼らはメインストリームにいたんですよね。で、今村翔平と自分が少し似ているのはそのメインストリームからちょっと外れたところにアウトサイド、映画の中心ではなくて外側にいて、ゲリラ的に映画を作っていくっていう、その自分たちのやり方で作っていくっていうことで、要は、あとは作品を見て学ぶしかないですよね。
So yes, we did of course discuss from time to time, but Ozu-san was from a previous generation and played a very important role in the evolution of movies, and so there was a lot to study and learn. With that said, it should be noted that he was much more of a mainstream movie maker, whereas we made the effort to leave the mainstream and go slightly outside of the mainstream type of movie making and to create our own style. With that said, definitely there is a lot to learn by watching him.
Yeah, so coming back to First Love, I mean, I could see like 3 or 4 acts in the film. Like it opens with a certain pace when we are, first being introduced to the boxer and his life, and then all the multiplicity of characters come in the second act, and then there's a different kind of pace, and then it ends in this explosion of violence, which is the third act, which is probably the most exciting act in the film. And then again, in the end, when all that is done, it settles into another, like there's this peaceful conclusion that happens. So was that? I mean, how was that developed? I mean, would you like to talk about the different acts that you have in that film, in this film? It has a whole mixture of styles.
これオリジナル完全にずっと、今までやってきた一緒にやってきた脚本家中村というのがいて、彼にそういう、ヤクザが生み出したラブストーリーって作れないものかっていう投げかけで生まれてきて、で、作品はそれぞれの登場人物たちの状況、置かれている状況から入っていって一つすれ違うっていう全然それとボクサーと違う物語があって、それが、歌舞伎町っていう一つの町の一つの路地ですれ違ったことから物語が全然思わぬ方向に進んでいくっていう、それはその物語のこう作る構造、仕掛け、物語の構造上そういうふうにペースが変わっていくっていうのは必然的にそうなっていったことです。
So this was an original idea that we worked on together with a scriptwriter that I've worked with for a long time, Nakamura-san, who's worked on especially many Yakuza-related movies. And regarding the situation, we wanted it to be to have many different types of pace, such as that with the boxer with the start, and then the tail of the area of Kabukicho, which is a part of Tokyo. It also was deliberately introduced to have a different type of pace.
And how important is the scripting process for you? I mean, is it, or do you also improvise when you go on the set and start shooting? I mean, or is everything sort of cast in stone before the shooting starts?
もちろん俳優には自由は当然あるし、その自由にやれる場所は提供していきますけど、脚本を加速する、壊していくんじゃなくて、より力強く加速させていくっていう作業は毎日毎カット全部テストやって、 本番はまた変わってくるので、結果的に、台本っていうのはそのお芝居をするためにカメラがあって現場があって役者たちが集まるっていうための道具で、集まった上それをやりながらどんどん変化していく、よりエネルギーを足していくっていう、その結果台本とは変わってしまったシーンもありますけど、目的は同じです。
So yes, certainly actors and staff do have certain degrees of freedom with their plays, but they cannot change things in an overly powerful way. We have many things in place: the script, the camera, the staff. However, when everything is there, the energy, of course, will change somewhat. So that is allowed. However, the main objective remains the same.
So when you, in 2017, when Blade of the Immortal came out, I mean, it was announced in the media that this was his 100th film. And so do you actually keep count of the number of films you make?
数えないけど、でも多分その本数ってだからインド映画だと普通の本数だよね。普通の本数でしょ。日本映画だとそんな撮るやついないけど。
So it's not, I don't keep count, but in from the perspective of Indian directors, that's kind of a normal number, but in Japan it's a bit rarer.
それぐらいやっぱりエネルギーがやっぱすごく感じるし、
So you can definitely feel that kind of energy.
とても日本映画では真似できない。
But it just simply can't happen in Japan.
ただたくさん撮るからいいっていうふうにも思わなくて、結果的にたまたまそうなったっていう、ローバジェットのものをたくさん撮り続けてきたし、もともと助監督だったので、もっと前は他の監督のために、自分のためにではなくて他の監督のために映画に関わってものすごく忙しくやってたので、自分の中で回るフィルムの速度っていうのはそういう頃に決まると思うんです。だから今は決して結果的にはそういう風になって、幸いいろいろ仕事がもらえたのでそうなったっていうだけのことで、そこに自分は目標はそんなたくさん取ろうとも思って、どっちかというと怠け者なんで、何もしないでいる時間があるのが幸せなんだけど、そうはならなかったっていうか。
So yes, it was never my objective to start out and make so many movies. I'm not lazy, but at the same time, it's happy to have some free time. So it was not really, the beginning was not really the aim to make so many movies. However, the circumstances earlier on were that there were many low-budget movies, and also I was working with and behalf on other directors, and that is how this happened. So, but it was not my aim.
The first decade or so of your career, he made his first film in 1990 or 91. He wasn't known outside, you were not known outside Japan. And then Audition came in 2000, and then Ichi the Killer in 2001, which is when I first saw a film of yours. And then globally you became a sort of absolute, a known name and a cult figure who, is as big a cult as anyone else in the world. In fact, I sometimes say that he, he's not the Quentin Tarantino of Japan, but Quentin Tarantino is the Takashi Miike of the US. So this move from being known only in Japan and then becoming a global force, did that change your style as a filmmaker?
変わらないけど、ただすごく楽しかった。その日本のビデオレンタルのお店の隙間、棚を埋めるもの、目的はそこで、その代わり自由に作っていたものを映画祭というものがこれは映画だと認めてくれて、日本じゃそれは映画でも何でもないんだよね。類シネマ、ビデオだっていう。それが海外の映画祭の人たちからするとそういうジャンル関係ないんです。これは面白いな。それで上映してもらって、ビデオ屋の棚にを埋めるためのものが海外のお客さんの目に届くっていう体験っていうのは非常に自分にとって貴重だった。だからそれを体験してるから、そこに行くために何かを作るよりも、自分の今目の前にあるものを自分なりに一生懸命楽しんで作っていると、またそれが世界の誰かが見てくれるかもしれないっていう、非常に、映画祭によってものすごい特殊な体験をさせてもらった監督だと思います。普通はみんな努力するじゃないですか。で海外でこうやってオーディション何度もエントリーしてでダメで、やっぱり海外にはこんな風にやった方がみんな見てくれるんじゃないのかっていうことで作られていくんだけど、自分は全くそういうことじゃなく、ってその映画祭でみんなと一緒に見ているその体験がものすごく不思議なので、映画ってそういう力があるんだなのを教えてくれたので、それはあなた変わっても無駄ですよって、あなたにできるのはあなたの映画ですだけですよっていう、でもし面白ければまた誰かが見てくれるんですよっていうのを教えてもらったんだ。
So, to answer the question, which was, did you change your style? In a word, no. The movie making has always been fun. This video rental, this V cinema, is kind of unique to Japan at that time, and the movies were not really made with the intention of being shown to an international audience, and this allowed me the freedom to experiment with what was in front of my eyes for what I wanted to make, and that was not for the purposes of film festivals and international viewers, but if they were to watch that and pass on by word of mouth the names of movies to their friends, then of course that would be something that would make me very happy. But yes, mainly it was made by me for who I am.
So you're in 2010, I think 13 Assassins went to Venice and competed. The next year it was, I think, Harakiri, Death of a Samurai, competed in Cannes. In Cannes you also had Shields, Straw Shield, a little later. This year he had First Love in Director's Fortnight. So, do the international critics, particularly the European and American ones, get his cinema, and do they react in the same manner as viewers in Japan do, or in the rest of the world do? Harakiri, Death of a Samurai, he was in Cannes.
基本的には同じなんです。タイミングとしては映画が流れる時間と何かそのお客さんが楽しんでもらえるっていうタイミングは同じなんですよ。映画の時間の中のタイミングでもその中身は多分全然違うんだろうなと。それは当然、文化も違うので、そのどれほど深く理解してもらっているのか。逆に言うと僕らが思いもしていないものが逆にそこにヨーロッパの人だったらヨーロッパの人が見つけてくれたりっていうそういう全てが監督が映画をコントロールできるわけじゃなくて監督が持っていない思いもよらないところで違う文化の人たちから見ると見るべき点が生まれてくる。それは人間でも一緒ですよね。つまらない人間だと思われてても誰かからすると非常に必要な人間であったりとか面白い部分があったりとかっていうそういう発見されるものっていうのが映画だと思います。
So on a basic level, yes, the same, particularly regarding the timing within the running of a movie and the events that happen within it is the same. But the content of what they react upon could be different. This is because of the cultures, the differences in culture and understanding of various things. And the things that certain people overseas might find as interesting at a particular point would be different. And although the director makes the movie, just like in life where people have their own experiences which affect their perceptions of things, it would mean that they'd have a different understanding from the people within Japan, for example.
Since you are such a prolific filmmaker, I mean, do you get any time at all to watch films by other filmmakers? And do you have any contemporary filmmakers you like to watch personally?
映画を作るほど見ることは好きではないですね。ずっと作り続けてで見るとどんな映画でも結構感動しちゃうんだよね。すごいなってここすごいなってただそんなに見てる時間があったら撮らなきゃ次のこといろいろやったりっていうのがもう子供の頃から好 そうですよね。多分世界中の映画監督で一番見た映画が少ないのでいくと、俺世界一のチャンピオンだと思うね。そこだけは自信がある。自慢にはならないけど。
So, as I spend a lot of my time making movies, maybe it's slightly surprising, but actually watching movies is something that I don't particularly like to do. But whatever movie I do watch, I get very strongly impressed and I feel emotional about the different parts in it that I want to watch. But mainly it's due to my busy schedule, which you know about. I can't really take time off for watching. And it's been the same since childhood. But if there is something I like, then I'll probably just fixate on watching that again and again, as opposed to many types of movies.
Before I throw it open to the audience, there's one last question. Is this your first time in India? And if yes, what are your first impressions?
いや、2回目、実は昔映画の撮影で、インドに1週間ぐらい非常に少人数でカメラマンと自分と俳優とあとはそれをフォローする3人か4人役者も入れて10人未満のローバジェットでもね映画で車でずっと旅をしたことがあります。
Actually, this is not my first time in here. This is my second time, and the first one was actually for a movie shooting, and I was here for about a week, and it was a very small crew. It was just a cameraman, and actors, and myself, and altogether about 10 people, and mostly we were in the car. It was a very low-budget movie.
その時やっぱり衝撃を受けたのはこの乗ってる車これバックミラーついてないじゃん。バックミラーこっちがってものすごいでもねカオスだよね。牛もいます人力車もいます車がすごい勢いでうわーっていう中でもなんかね楽しかった。すごいうわーってすごいエネルギーだっていう感じで我々も何かそのタフにやれた仕事ができたっていう思いではあります。
So I remember being very surprised that in the car they didn't have a rear view mirror, and ultimately my impressions on the road was just there was chaos with the rickshaws and so many people everywhere and cows, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a really amazing energy that I felt from my experience.
So was this film for the big screen or was it for video? I mean, was it direct to video?
映画です。日本ではきちんと全国公開した映画で、双子の話で一人は日本で、トラブルに巻き込まれて双子のうちの一人は、インドを旅してっていうそういう似た同じ顔をした一人の役者がやってるんだけど 似た顔をしてるけど性格が違う人間が同じ地球の上で別々の生き方をしていくっていうそういう作品があっていや違う一人の違うもう一人の二役してをやってるわけ。
So it was for a movie in Japan, and it was two simultaneous stories of a person with a very similar type of face and different lives, one over here and one over there.
So, questions from the audience now? Anybody? One person.
すごいわ。
Good evening, sir. I had a question about the action sequences in your movie. For example, we take the movie Blade of the Mortal. In the climax, there is a long action sequence. So my question is, like, while writing the screenplay, do you or your screenwriter write in detail about these action sequences, or do you incorporate them after you have a discussion? You had a discussion with your action choreographer.
You're talking about the latest film, the one, first one.
Blade of the Mortal.
Okay.
Blade of the Mortal.
He said, does he? Is it in the screenplay, or does it evolve when they're shooting and the action, the way the action is broken down?
Right. ああいう立ち回りがたくさんあるときは、スタッフにこういうものが必要だとかこうしたいっていうそれは台本だけではとても見えてこないのでそれぞれの武器とか動きとかっていうのそれは基本的にはね絵コンテわかりますかコンテ絵に起こすこのカットとこのカットこのカットっていうで一緒にずっと描いてくれる絵を描く専門の人間がいて明日やるシーンをブワーって描いたりとかやってコントロールしていますだから台本にはあんなことを書けないねものすごい戦うっていうふうに書いてあるだけ激しい戦いっていう一行にしてもらってあとはそれがどんな戦いかっていうのは作っていきますこちらで。
So when you have a sequence like this with such a magnitude of so many people, and it's not so much that it's written in the script or in the screenplay, it's more about creating a picture form or a diagram, one could say. So for any particular day's shooting of a scene like that, at the end of the day they would prepare the next day's format for how people would stand for that scene. So this is something that you can't actually write a scene in a script-like format.
Hi sir, my name is Takashi. I'm an actor and anchor based out of Bombay. I'm such a huge fan. 13 Assassins is one of the most impactful and one of the most moving films that I've seen. My question to you is, as we know in the world of filmmaking, they say that there are only 6 to 12 stories in totality. And that we've seen it before, that it has been done before. So how do you keep fresh in the face of this idea? And what do you do to keep it original? Do you subvert the process? How do you keep fresh is what my question is to the legendary director. Thank you.
撮ることに、映画を作ることに、それは当然映画監督にとってすごく大事な時間なわけですよ。慎重に考えていろいろきっちりやっていく。その結果やっぱり撮るまでに時間がかかったり、または考えすぎて理想と現実が違ってしまって、それであればこの映画は撮らないとかっていう、結果として撮らないという選択をするっていう監督って多いと思うんですよ。撮れないで撮らない、思い通りにやれる予算と時間がないんだったら撮らない、やらないと。自分の場合はその状況に合わせてやっていくと何が出来上がるのかっていうのを楽しんでいる。信じられないような予算とか時間がないっていう中で何ができて、だからこそできるシーンがあるんじゃないかっていうふうに考えているっていう、その違いだけだと思うんですけどね。要は昔は、いや君そんなにガツガツ撮ってると日本でいうと枯れる才能が枯渇する、枯れてしまうよって言われたんだけど、自分は全くそうは思わないですね。やればやるほど鋭くなってくるんじゃないかっていうふうに思います。
So for directors in movies, they spend a lot of time, and that means a lot of time, looking very much in detail at the entire movie, and they can think about what works between theory and practice, and sometimes they don't choose to do a particular scene or a piece because of time or money. But doing the things that might be seen as unbelievable for him is indeed the fun part, and that's what he focuses on since a long time ago. That's always been the way.
Got your answer?
Hello. Yeah, hi. This is Kishore from Pune. My question is, what is important for you as a filmmaker? Script, actor, or a plot for your movie? So these are the things are main part of the filmmaking. So what is the importance of your part of the filmmaking?
Well, すごくありきたりなことになってしまうんだけど、ともかく台本は大事ですよ。要はそれを中心に何もないところに台本だけがあって、そこに集まってくる。そもそものきっかけと最後まで映画に影響する、それを面白いものにしようとするっていう点では、やっぱり台本っていうのは非常に大事なものだと思います。大事なものなんだけど宝物ではないよね。それをあまり守りすぎると、それをやっぱり疑う必要もあるし、その本を作ることを撮影していくことによってある俳優の個性がそのキャラクターを全く変えてしまうこともあるし、いろんな事件が起こるわけですよ。その事件を作品に押し込めていく、中に記録していくっていう、そういう作業だと思う。でも出発点として脚本っていうのは本当に大事だと思います。
So certainly the script is extremely important, because without it one cannot even commence and begin. So we cannot reiterate enough that just how important it is. Having said that, it's also something that should not be overly protected, because there's still the characters and the idiosyncrasies of the actors and actresses, and we need to put that within the work. But if I was to answer your question very simply, I would say the script.
First you and then person behind.
I said, just asking, you're coming from Japan as a traditional society, and your films fundamentally unsettling some Japanese values, especially at the end, it has kind of the pompous samurai traditions and this core value you question most of the time. It is totally unsettling for the traditional Japanese society and its values. And how far you face the resistance from your society, and how far it affects your creativity, if it is anyway affected.
そうですね、確かに、保守的というか、あまり、目立たず個性を日本のことわざで出る釘は打たれるってあるでしょ。それ非常に日本的だな。目立っているものは叩かれる、そういう意識は確かにあると思います。ただ映画業界がそういう人たちが多いので、逆に言うと、サブカルチャーが生まれる可能性があるとか、カウンターカルチャーですよね。で、自分はやっぱりそういうそっち方面なんだ、保守的にやっている。かつては会社員、映画会社の会社員が映画を作っていた。で、映画っていうのはエリートが作るものだ、ちゃんと勉強してきた人間たちが作るものだっていうふうに安心していて、それがずっと続くもんだと思っていた。その映画業界の人たちの保守的な油断が自分に映画を作るチャンスをくれた。カウンターカルチャーが生まれてくると、そういう意味では非常に活用すべき点はあると思います。
So in answer to your question, yes, I would say so. Japan is a very conservative and traditional society, and there is a very famous expression that could sum up a very important piece of knowledge about Japanese society. The protruding nail will be hammered down, so the society itself will push back, and this is especially prevalent within the movie industry, as it is quite conservative. However, in response to this pushing down and the conservatism, this therefore leads to the emergence of a subculture which pushes back against that level of conservatism. So yes, there are the movie makers that do it the very traditional way, studying and making movies for the elite. But the very action of having that conservative type of movie making leads to the activity of movies such as his, the activity of the emergence of movies such as his.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Had
Good evening, sir. Okay, this is a two-part question. Okay, the first one is what Mr. Miike's take on the difference between a director writing his own material versus he's adapting someone else's screenplay. And the next part is when Mr. Miike working on someone else's screenplay, how much he's involved in the writing process. Thank you.
What's the question? This is it's a screenplay by someone else that he's working on.
So the first question was experience versus directing material versus someone else's screenplay.
Yeah. And when someone else's screenplay, does he also get involved in the writing process?
まずすごい才能を持った脚本家と出会うことをいつも期待はしています。要は映画を作る上でかなり比重の大きい部分をクリアしてくれるものすごい才能の持ち主っていうのをいてほしいと願う気持ちがやっぱりいつも脚本家を探す、理由ですよね。なかなかでもそういう人は現れないんだけど、多くの監督やプロデューサーはその脚本家の書いてきたものの欠点を見ることはできるんだけど、いいところを見ることがなかなかできないんですよ。いいポイントを見つけられない。欠点は分かりやすい。それは逆に言うと観客と同じことなんです。観客もその作品の本当の隠れた良さを見つける前に欠点が気になってしまう。この話変だなって。でもそれは本当にその天才的な人間っていうのはやっぱり存在しないわけじゃなくていると思うんです。それと出会いたいなというのはありますが、でも結局はその本をきっかけにまた我々が映像化するときに書き直していくわけですよ。活字で書き直すんじゃなくて役者が音に今度変えていくわけでしょ、セリフを。その時にその音の響きを我々が脚本を変えるようにその響きを変えていくっていう、そういう関係です。ただ今回のファーストラブとかは、台本の3分の1ぐらいは自分でちょっと活字で書き直しているっていう、自分で直しているっていう部分もある。ただやっぱり本当にすごい脚本家がいてどっかでいつか出会うっていう、もちろん今までの脚本家もすごいんですよ。いいところはいっぱいあるんだけど圧倒的にすごいものを書くやつっていうのは現れるっていうのを監督っていうのはやっぱ期待するもんだと思います。
So it must be said that for them working with someone else's screenplay, there's often the parts they don't actually, the script writer doesn't actually want to make any big changes, and it is by the big producers and directors that look at the good parts and see whether or not this can be actually made. And then there's also the question of looking at it from the point of view of the audience and the budget and whether it would come out looking good or not. And sometimes you can influence the scriptwriter to change or perhaps pull them in the direction of changing them, but So these people do exist, but it is it's often the case that it's difficult to change. So for my own part, about a third of the scripts that I work with, I put some change into them myself, and it's part of being a director that we always very much look forward to having great scripts to work with.
Yeah, I was wondering, because oftentimes there's a lot of humor in the scenes of films by Mr. Miike that are where the scene is really full of tension. I was wondering how he keeps the suspense even though all of the audience is laughing. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in those scenes, and that's also what we really appreciate about it.
あんまり自分で意識してるわけではないんだけど、何か、真面目なセリフを言っているとどっか滑稽に見えてきたりとか、何か、なんだろうな、例えばヤクザっていうのはただ怖いばっかりじゃなくて、やっぱ面白い笑える瞬間もあるわけで、そのお葬式、誰かが亡くなって大事なお友達が亡くなって悲しみのどん底でも何か一つタイミングが来るとみんな何か笑っちゃいけないんだけどおかしなことが起こったりっていうのは非常にリアル、現実はどっちかというとそうですよね。でも映画っていうのは悲しいシーンになるとずっと悲しくて音楽も悲しい音楽でそれを、ね、一色で塗り込めなきゃいけない。どうもそこになんか自分はちょっと違和感を感じるっていう。ただ、そういうふうにいろんなものを混ぜようっていう意識ではなくて自然になっている。ただリアルはそういうことなんだと思います。
So I don't actually put too much of an effort of awareness into actually doing that. And we should realize also that, it's not just the case that Yakuza, for example, are just scary. There's also things we can laugh at them about, and events such as funerals, whilst they are sad, at certain points within it, there might be something that would produce a different type of emotion, such as humor. So these types of things happen in real life. They're naturally occurring anyway. So we just put that in.
多分こういう経験されたことはあると思うんだけど、ある悲しい映画を見ていて、誰かがセリフを言う、誰かが悲しそうな顔をする、あ、ここで音楽が、悲しい音楽が入るなって思った瞬間に本当に入ってくると、なんかおかしいでしょ、吹き出しちゃうでしょ、思った通りだよってなんかそういう滑稽さがなんか映画にはあるんですよね。なんかそれが自分ではなんかすごく気持ち悪い。普通ここでそういう音楽入るよねっていうところで音楽家がつけてくると、いやここはやめとこうっていう風になっちゃう。
And so at certain points of a movie there may be a very sad situation where someone's having a very sad face, and putting in sad music at that point, it can be done, but also it might not be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Takashi-san?
I'll ask the
Takashi-san?
question in the meantime. I mean, continue.
I'll ask. Sir?
Hello sir, I'm Rayan from Tamil Nadu. I have two questions for you.
Two.
Yeah, two. The first one is, what do you think about the latest ongoing mangas and animes like Dragon Ball Z? And have you ever thought of adapting any of those novels into your films, as a film or as a web series? And the second question I have is that, what do you think about the planned remake of the film Akira, animated classic of the 1980s, by the means of Hollywood?
Akira.
Yeah, Akira.
一つ目の質問は、その漫画面白いものっていう、その面白いから映画化したいっていうふうにはあまり思わないです。そのただ面白いを通り越してその作品のファンになる、愛情を持ったら映画に作ってみたいっていう、要は本当の面白いし、今ヒットしそうみんなしているので、みんな見てるので、これがを映画にすると映画もヒットする、だから好きっていうことでやっぱり映画にしてはいけないと、本当のファンにリスペクトできる、作家も含めてっていうのが必要だと思うので、そういう作品ができてくれば、ぜひ映画化したいとは思います。で2つ目は「アキラ」っていうもう随分前に書かれた原作漫画が、アニメーションでもあるんですけど、それがずっと長い間ハリウッドでリメイクされるとかっていう話がありながら繰り返し、立ち消えになって、また今いよいよやるんじゃないかっていう、それは個人的にはすごい楽しみにはしてますけど、アキラのやっぱり大友さんっていう作家が書いてる、それのファンでもあるので、見てみたいのと見たくないの両方があります。でじゃあお前が作るかっていうと、とてもじゃないけど、あまりにファンすぎてそれは触れないっていう複雑なところです。
So for the first question with the current modern animes such as Dragon Ball, if it's something interesting, then I might push to it, but I think it would be necessary for me to be a big fan of it in order to do it. As far as the animation of Akira, I've always respected it. And the fact that it's going to be repeated is something I'm very much looking forward to. And I'm a huge fan of the original writer, so I do want to see it. At the same time, maybe I feel it shouldn't be messed with.
きっと失敗するよね、その映画っていう気がしませんか？
Yeah, it's a big worry about this movie.
Yeah, you have a question.
Good evening. It's an honor to speak with you. I noticed that in many of your films there's the idea of family, and the main characters have to face the value of the family, blood tied or without blood ties. What's your idea and what's your relationship with the value of family? I want to ask you this.
まあ誰にとっても家族って、大切で、ただ自分の場合は、随分その一緒に過ごす時間って少なくて、逆に言うと家族の中で父親として父親らしくいられる方法、唯一の方法はやっぱり映画を作って子供たちが見て、あ、面白かったっていう、どっかで映画監督と観客っていう関係っていうのもすごく大事で、逆にそれがまた自分の映画を作るモチベーションにもなっているっていうところが自分の、家族っていう、子供たち、特に子供たちに何も教えてあげることはできなかったし、ダメな父親ではあるんだけど、でも唯一その監督でいて面白いものが、彼らが面白いと思えるものを作るっていうのは唯一自分にとって父親としても救いというか、そのできることだというふうに思っています。
So for everyone, family is always important. With mine, the amount of time that I've had to spend with them, given my various commitments, is quite small. And we do watch. So, as a parent watching with kids, it does affect me, and it does motivate me. Thinking about how they would see the movies, and also from their point of view, and also from the audience.
だから3人子供いるんだけど、1人ぐらいは父親の仕事、映画の仕事に興味を示して、俺もやってみるって言い出すかなって思ったんだけど、1人もいないね。もう全然、映画は好きで見るけど、映画監督になろうとは誰も思わない。子供たちが俺のことをどう見てるのか、それでよく分かると思う。
And out of my 3 children, not one of them is interested in going into the movie industry, and especially not being a director.
一番上の息子は、バイクとかスズキ車のメーカーに勤めてて、たまにバイクの工場にこっちへインドに出張してきてます。
My eldest, actually works for Suzuki, and is a big bike fan, and comes to India.
バイク工場、自分が設計したバイクの管理をしにたまに来て。
Okay, so then comes to India on behalf of the bike.
日本映画も大事にしてもらいたいですけど、鈴木もよろしくお願いしますね。
So, as well as the movie industry also wishes to give his regards to us.
We have time for 2 more questions, one from here, one from there, and then that's too many. There's a question here. We'll come to you. You can go ahead. I think you can use your voice too. You're not very far from us.
今いろいろその中国であったり、ロサンゼルス、アメリカであったりとか、またロシアとか、最近では、インドの方といろいろそのコラボレーション一緒に何か作らないかっていうようなお話を昔からいただいてたんですけど、どれもなかなか 実現したことがなくて、日本のスタッフとその海外の人たちとうまく組んで、また僕らが今までのまんまじゃ作れないようなものっていうのができるっていうことができればいいなとは思ってます。
So actually there are a number of projects from China, Los Angeles, Russia and even India that talks have developed in the past, some type of collaboration, and even over a long period of time. But unfortunately some of these have not come to fruition for various reasons.
You were going to do this film called The Outsider. I mean, we had Tom Moody in the film. What happened? I mean, was that film ever made by someone else or was it dropped completely? Do you know what happened? A film called The Outsider that he was supposed to direct with Tom Moody, Tom Hardy. Sorry, Tom Moody is a cricketer. Tom Hardy was going to play an American who joins and becomes a samurai. So.
そうね、トム・ハーディがっていうマッドマックスをやってものすごく人気が出たんで、ギャラが足らないっつってギャラが足らないって言って撮影の1ヶ月前にドタキャンしたんだよね、降りたんだよね。
So in the wake of Tom Hardy's fame with Mad Max and his subsequent rise in popularity, he suddenly decided to perform a last-minute cancellation.
でもまあそりゃそうだなっていう。
It happens.
Hello. Well, as an artist, what is your primary objective while you write and direct a scene which can be described as bizarre, eccentric, or violent? Is it mainly to keep the audience at the edge of their seats? Is it to deliver some message symbolically, or is it for your own catharsis? Eccentric and violent. What is the primary objective when you write and direct them?
そうね、そうただね、なんかすごく要は映画監督ってそういう作った観客に何を伝えるかっていうことが非常に、重要なことではあるんだけど、いざ撮影して始まってみるともう自分が楽しめるかどうかっていうことで精一杯なんね。自分にとってこのシーンが驚きかどうかっていう。観客という大切なものまでなかなか行き着かない自分がとでもやっぱりそうやって撮ったシーンが結構見てくれる人に心に届いたりする。やっぱり非常にそんな余裕があるわけじゃないので、だから基準としては自分が監督でありながら自分が一番最初の観客という当時非常にピュアな観客としてそこにいて自分を楽しませようとしているっていうのはあります。
So as the director, I am very much shooting with the frame of how is it exciting me. So it's all about how I feel about it, and in a pure sense I try to look at it from the point of view of the audience as well, but it's mainly about how I and me as the audience would see it.
いや観客に驚いてもらおうっていう中にはその思いの中には必ず自分が才能のある監督だっていうふうに思ってもらいたいっていう余分な欲望がある。 ですよね、きっと観客を驚かそうっていうことは自分が才能ある人間だっていうふうに観客に伝えたい、それがテーマになってしまうともう映画作る意味がないでしょう。観客がどう思うが自分が面白いかどうかっていう、そこがやっぱり大事なところだと思います。
So I have to also think about how it would surprise the audience, and from their point of view, how they would experience it, and how we can convey the theme of it.
That's all the time we have. I know we can carry on for 2 more hours, but there's another screening that's going to happen here. So, the last question was this one. So now we have to. No, just.
Last question, one question.
The one question. So you decide who's going to ask.
There's a great development from Takashi Miike to the legendary filmmaker Takashi Miike. So at this point of your career, do you still believe in what is more fun? Is it low budget filmmaking or leisure filmmaking? What is more fun for you?
いやもうどちらも同じですよ。でもやっぱり責任なく楽しめるっていうローバジェットにはこうなんかいけない悪い薬のような魅力はありますよね。でそれを最初に認めてもらったっていう事実を自分自身忘れてはいけないという。それで監督として少し売れたからじゃあどんどんメジャーにっていう、要は一つ一つステップをメジャーに向かって上がっていくっていう考え方っていうのは間違っていると思います。メジャーなこともやってももっとそこでエネルギーを貯めてもっとインディーズなものを作るとかローバジェットでもっと何か作るとかっていう、そのためのメジャーっていうのは意味があると思います。
So in truth, both have their own particular types of charms, and it shouldn't really be thought of as having a step of going from one, i.e. the low budget, up to the major, because there's various things that can be enjoyed about both types of films. And even with the low budgets, in particular, there's certain things that we can do that we can't do with the majors.
伝わったかな。そのメジャーになる前は必ずインディーズなわけだ。インディーズでしょ、マイナーでしょ。マイナーがあったから認められてメジャーになったので、メジャーになったらマイナーに戻らなければいけない。でまたメジャーもやってもいいし、基本はマイナーな映画を楽しむということを忘れてしまってはもう監督としてはもうダメだと。
If the director forgets the enjoyment of starting out with the independent, low-budget movies, then it's not a good thing. And it's very much a case of from doing the low budget allows you to then step up and do more of the major types of movies. But one should never forget also doing the movies of the more independent, low-budget type.
So that's so we are ending the conversation here. Thank you for being a very responsible